For 8 years, I was my mother's full-time caregiver. My siblings? They were too busy to visit even once. But they made time for her funeral. They made time to bring lawyers. They made time to demand their equal share of everything. What they didn't make time for was listening to the letter Mom wrote 3 months before she died. The letter that destroyed them in front of everyone. This is my story. And it's about to get complicated. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm 49 years old now, but this story begins 8 years ago when I was 41. I remember the exact moment my life changed. It was a Tuesday morning in March 2016. I was sitting at my desk at the marketing firm where I'd just been promoted to senior director. 20 years of climbing that ladder. 20 years of proving myself. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Miss Mitchell? This is Dr. Chin from St. Mary's Hospital. Your mother collapsed this morning. You need to come in right away. The drive to the hospital felt like it took forever and no time at all. I kept thinking, she's fine. She's always been fine. Mom was 71, active, healthy. She walked 3 miles every morning. She volunteered at the library. She was fine. Except she wasn't. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer, the oncologist said. Those words might as well have been a death sentence. It's already spread to her liver. I'm sorry, Miss Mitchell, but we're looking at 6 months. Maybe 12 if we're lucky. I sat in that sterile consultation room and the world just stopped. My mother. My strong, independent mother who raised 3 kids by herself after Dad died. She was dying. The first thing I did was call my brother Michael. He lives in Seattle, works as a corporate lawyer, makes more money in a month than I used to make in a year. Michael, I said, my voice shaking. Mom has cancer. Stage 4. It's bad. We need to talk about what we're going to do. I'll never forget his response. Oh, Sarah. That's terrible. Really terrible. There was a pause. I could hear keyboard clicks in the background. He was still working. But listen, I'm in the middle of a major case right now. Huge. I'll try to fly out next month, okay? Can you handle things until then? Handle things. Like our dying mother was a business meeting that could be rescheduled. Michael, she has 6 months. I know. I'll get there when I can. Keep me posted. He hung up before I could say anything else. Next, I called my sister Jennifer. She lives in Miami, works in real estate, drives a BMW she can't afford, and posts about her glamorous life on Instagram every single day. Sis, I said. Mom's dying. Pancreatic cancer. 6 months, maybe less. Jennifer gasped. Oh my God. Oh my God, that's awful. I waited for her to say she was booking a flight. She didn't. But you're there with her, right? She said instead. I mean, you live close. I've got 3 closings this week, Sarah. 3. I can't just drop everything. I'll send flowers. Keep me posted, okay? And that's when I realized I was alone in this. It was going to be me. Just me. That night, I sat beside Mom's hospital bed. She was asleep, oxygen tubes in her nose, 4 in her arm. She looked so small, so fragile. Nothing like the woman who used to carry me on her shoulders when I was a kid. When she woke up, she saw me and smiled. Then she saw my face, and the smile faded. "Sarah," she whispered, "I know what you're thinking. Mom, you're thinking about quitting your job, about moving in to take care of me." Her eyes filled with tears. "Please don't. Please don't throw your life away for me." I took her hand. "Mom, you're not a burden. You raised me. You sacrificed everything for us. It's my turn now." She started crying. "But Michael and Jennifer aren't coming," I said quietly. "We both know that." She didn't argue. She knew. The next morning, I walked into my boss's office and submitted my resignation. He tried to talk me out of it. Offered me a leave of absence, said my position would be waiting for me. But I knew the truth. This wasn't a 3-month break. This was the rest of my mother's life. However long that was. I moved into Mom's house that same week. Converted the den into my bedroom. Set up hospital equipment. Learned how to manage medications, feeding tubes, wound care. Learned how to recognize pain in someone too proud to admit they were hurting. Michael did visit. Once. 3 weeks after the diagnosis. He stayed for 48 hours, took some photos with Mom, posted them on Facebook with a long caption about cherishing family, and flew back to Seattle. I didn't see him again for 2 years. Jennifer video called twice in the first month. Then it was once a month. Then every few months. Then nothing. But I was there. Every single day. Every single night. For 8 years. Let me tell you what 8 years of caregiving actually looks like. My day started at 5:30 every morning. I'd wake up and the first thing I'd do was check on Mom. Did she make it through the night okay? Is she in pain? Does she need medication? Then came the morning routine. Helping her to the bathroom. Bathing her, which took 45 minutes and required patience neither of us always had. Dressing her. Making breakfast. Administering medications. 9 pills in the morning. 11 at night. Some with food. Some without. Some that made her nauseous. Some that made her so drowsy she could barely keep her eyes open. Then physical therapy. Insurance only covered 2 sessions a week, so I taught myself how to do the rest. Stretching exercises. Walking assistance. Range of motion exercises to prevent bed sores. Meals were another challenge. Mom had trouble swallowing, so everything had to be soft. Pureed, sometimes. I became an expert at making mashed potatoes interesting. Medical appointments consumed our lives. Oncology. Cardiology. Physical therapy. Pain management. Eventually, hospice consultations. 3 times a week at first. then twice a week, then weekly. And through all of this, where were Michael and Jennifer? Michael called every 3 months or so. The conversations were always the same. "How's Mom doing?" "She's hanging in there," I'd say. "It's been really hard, Michael. I could use some help." "I wish I could, Sarah. I really do. But work is insane right now. The kids have soccer and piano lessons. Maybe during Thanksgiving?" Thanksgiving would come and go. No, Michael. Jennifer was worse. She'd text occasionally. "How's Mom? Thinking of you both." Heart emoji. I'd send back detailed updates. "Mom's pain is getting worse. We might need to increase hospice care. I'm exhausted and could really use some support." Her responses got shorter and shorter. Then they stopped completely. Year 3, an old colleague from work called me. "Sarah, we miss you. Are you ever coming back?" I looked at Mom sleeping in her hospital bed, oxygen tubes, medication pump beeping softly. "No," I said. "I don't think I am." 3 years of lost income. 3 years of lost promotions. 3 years of watching my career disappear. But it wasn't just my career. Year 4, my boyfriend Jake gave me an ultimatum. "Sarah, I can't do this anymore. You're never available. You're always exhausted. This isn't a relationship. It's me or your mother's care." I chose my mother. Year 5, I spent my entire savings. $87,000. Money I'd been saving since I was 22. Money for a house, for retirement, for someday. I spent it all on Mom's medical expenses. Treatments insurance wouldn't cover. Equipment Medicare didn't pay for. Modifications to make the house wheelchair accessible. Year 6, my friends stopped calling. They'd given up inviting me to dinner, to girls' nights, to anything. I never could make it. I was always with Mom. Year 7, my back gave out. Years of lifting, transferring, bathing Mom had taken their toll. I developed chronic pain. I needed physical therapy myself. But I couldn't afford it. All the money went to Mom. And through it all, Michael and Jennifer's silence was deafening. Until year 8. Month 4. July. Mom passed away peacefully in her sleep on a Thursday morning. I was holding her hand. I'd been awake for 36 hours straight, afraid to leave her side. When she took her last breath, I felt something break inside me. Not just grief. Relief. Guilt over feeling relief. Love. Exhaustion. Everything all at once. And then, within hours, my phone started ringing. "Michael, Sarah, I just heard. I'm so sorry. I'm booking a flight right now." "Jennifer, oh my God, Sarah. I can't believe she's gone. I'm coming home." After 8 years of silence, suddenly they cared. The funeral was on Saturday. I arranged everything. The service. The flowers. The reception. I wrote the obituary. I selected the photos. I chose the music. Michael flew in Friday night. His first visit in 4 years. Jennifer arrived Saturday morning. Her first visit in 5 years. At the funeral, they played their parts perfectly. Michael gave a tearful eulogy about our beloved mother and the woman who shaped us. Jennifer sobbed dramatically at the casket, surrounded by her friends who'd flown in for support. I watched from the front pew, numb. After the service, we held a small reception at Mom's house. People I hadn't seen in years came up to me, offered condolences, said things like your mother was so proud of you and you were so good to her. That's when Michael pulled me aside into the kitchen. "Sarah," he said, his voice suddenly businesslike. "We need to talk about Mom's estate. I've spoken with Jennifer. We think it's only fair that everything be split 3 ways. Equally." I stared at him. "Split equally? Mom was our mother," he said. "Not just yours. The law is clear about this. Children inherit equally unless there's a will stating otherwise." "Michael, I spent 8 years, that was your choice," Jennifer interrupted, appearing behind him. "No one forced you to quit your job and play nurse. You could have put her in a nursing home like a normal person. That's not our problem." I felt like I'd been slapped. "Play nurse?" I repeated. "I gave up everything. My career. My savings. My life." Jennifer shrugged. "Again, your choice. Look, we all loved Mom. But you don't get special treatment just because you decided to be a martyr about it." Michael handed me a piece of paper. I had my assistant draw up a preliminary division of assets. House, bank accounts, investments, life insurance. Comes to about $794,000 total. $265,000 each, roughly. I looked at the paper. My hands were shaking. "Michael, I spent $87,000 of my own money on Mom's care. I gave up at least $600,000 in lost income over 8 years. You think that doesn't matter? Your personal financial decisions aren't the estate's responsibility," he said coolly. "Look, Sarah, I know you're emotional right now. We all are. But the law is the law. We'll meet at the attorney's office Tuesday at 2. We can sort this out then." He walked away. Jennifer lingered for a moment, then leaned in close. "You need to accept reality, Sarah. You got to spend 8 years with Mom. We didn't. That was your reward. Now it's time to share what she left behind." Then she walked away too, rejoining her friends. I stood alone in the kitchen, holding that piece of paper, feeling my entire world crumble. Tuesday came faster than I wanted it to. I drove to Thomas Henderson's office. He was Mom's attorney, had been for 20 years. I'd met him a few times over the years when Mom updated her healthcare directives or refinanced the house. When I walked into the conference room, Michael and Jennifer were already there. Michael wore an expensive suit. Jennifer was scrolling through her phone, bored. And beside them sat a younger man I didn't recognize. "Sarah, this is Derek Marsh," Michael said. "Our attorney. We wanted legal representation to make sure this process is handled correctly." My stomach dropped. They'd brought a lawyer. To our mother's estate reading. Mr. Henderson entered a moment later, carrying a leather folder. He was 72 years old, gray-haired, with kind eyes that had seen too much family drama. "Good afternoon," he said, sitting down. "Thank you all for coming. I know this is difficult." He opened the folder. "Before we begin, I want to clarify something. Your mother did leave a will. A very detailed one. And she updated it 6 months ago." Michael and Jennifer exchanged confused looks. "Updated?" Michael said. "Why would she need to update it 6 months ago?" "Sarah, did you know about this?" "I didn't. Your mother came to my office alone," Mr. Henderson said firmly. "She was of completely sound mind. In fact, she insisted on having the signing video recorded to eliminate any future questions about her mental competence." Derek Marsh, the hired attorney, leaned forward. "I want it on record that my clients have concerns about potential undue influence. Miss Mitchell here had exclusive access to her mother for 8 years. There's precedent for, noted," Mr. Henderson said calmly. "Now, the will." He began reading. "I, Patricia and Mitchell, being of sound mind and body, do hereby declare this to be my last will and testament. The estate, in its entirety, house, accounts, investments, life insurance, and all personal property, shall be distributed as follows." He paused, looked up at us. "To my son, Michael Christopher Mitchell, $1. Michael's face went white. "To my daughter, Jennifer Marie Mitchell, $1. Jennifer gasped. "What?" "To my daughter, Sarah Elizabeth Mitchell, the remainder of my estate, in full." The room exploded. "That's insane!" Michael shouted. She was clearly not in her right mind. "This is undue influence!" Derek Marsh yelled. "We're contesting this immediately." Jennifer was on her feet. "This is bullshit. Sarah manipulated her. She poisoned Mom against us." Mr. Henderson held up his hand. "Please. There's more. Your mother anticipated this reaction. She wrote a letter to be read aloud in my presence. This is that letter." He pulled out several handwritten pages. Mom's handwriting. I recognized it immediately. This letter was written 3 months before Mrs. Mitchell passed away. It was witnessed by myself, her primary care physician Dr. Chen, and her hospice nurse Margaret Torres. He cleared his throat and began reading. "My dearest children, if you're hearing this letter, it means I'm gone. I want you to know that every decision in this will was made with a clear mind, a full heart, and eyes wide open to exactly what I'm doing." Mr. Henderson continued reading Mom's letter, and with every word, I felt my heart break and heal at the same time. "Michael, Jennifer, I know you're angry right now. I know you're probably telling yourselves I was manipulated, that I wasn't thinking clearly, that this isn't fair. So let me tell you exactly why I made this decision. When I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in March of 2016, the doctor told me I had 6 months to live. Maybe a year if I was lucky. I called all 3 of my children to tell them the news. Michael, you said you'd visit next month. That was 8 years ago. You came once. 3 weeks after my diagnosis. You stayed for 2 days. You took photos with me. I noticed you posted them on Facebook with a long caption about how important family is. Then you left. And you never came back. You called every few months. Always with an excuse. Work was busy. The kids had activities. You'd come during the holidays. The holidays came and went. You never showed up. Jennifer, you sent flowers. Twice. They were beautiful. I appreciated them. But flowers don't help someone to the bathroom at 3 in the morning. Flowers don't drive someone to chemotherapy when they're so nauseous they can barely sit up. Flowers don't hold someone's hand when they're crying from pain. You video called me twice in 8 years. Twice. But Sarah. My Sarah. She gave me 8 years of her life. She quit her job the day after I was diagnosed. Not eventually. Not after thinking about it. The very next day. She walked into her boss's office and resigned from a career she'd spent 20 years building. A career she loved. She gave it up without hesitation. She moved into my house. She turned my den into her bedroom and my living room into a hospital. She learned medical care I never expected anyone to learn. Medications. Feeding tubes. Wound care. Physical therapy. She bathed me when I couldn't do it myself. Think about that. Your sister bathed me, dressed me, helped me to the bathroom, cleaned me when I had accidents I was too ashamed to talk about. She spent $87,000. Her entire life savings. Money she'd been putting away since she was in her 20s. Money for a house, for retirement, for her future. She spent every penny on my care. On treatments insurance wouldn't cover. On equipment Medicare denied. On making my last years comfortable. She gave up relationships because she was always here with me. She gave up friendships because she couldn't leave me alone. She gave up her health. I know her back hurts constantly from years of lifting me. She gave up everything. And you too? What did you give up? Nothing. You sent cards on my birthday, most years. You called occasionally. You made promises you never kept. So no, Michael and Jennifer, you are not entitled to equal shares of my estate. You're entitled to exactly what you gave me, token acknowledgement. $1 each. And honestly, that's generous. Every penny I have goes to Sarah. Not because she manipulated me. Not because I wasn't thinking clearly. But because she earned it. She earned it with 8 years of selfless devotion. She earned it with sacrifices you cannot possibly understand. She earned it with love. If you choose to contest this will, you will lose. I have been very, very thorough. I have video testimony recorded 3 months ago showing my mental competence. I have medical records from Dr. Chin confirming I was of sound mind. I have statements from my nurses, my neighbors, my friends, all confirming that Sarah was here every single day, and you were not. I have something else, too. Sarah kept a care log. Every single day for 8 years, she documented every medication, every meal, every appointment, every moment of care she provided. It's 2,920 pages long. 8 years. Every single day. So please, don't waste your money on lawyers. Don't waste your time fighting this. You'll lose, and you'll only destroy what's left of this family. Sarah deserves this. She deserves every penny. She deserves recognition for what she sacrificed. And you deserve to live with the truth. When I needed you, you weren't there. When I was dying, you were too busy. When your sister was drowning under the weight of caring for me alone, you didn't even call to ask how she was doing. I love you. I always have. I always will. But love doesn't erase reality. My estate goes to the daughter who loved me back. The daughter who showed up. The daughter who stayed. Goodbye, my children. Sarah, thank you for everything. You made my last years bearable. You made them meaningful. I saw every sacrifice. I saw every sleepless night. I saw every time you bit back tears so I wouldn't see you cry. I saw you. And I'm grateful. And I love you. Always, Mom. When Mr. Henderson finished reading, the room was completely silent. I was crying. I didn't even realize it until tears dripped onto my hands. Michael sat frozen, his face pale. Jennifer had her hand over her mouth, tears streaming down her face. Real tears this time. Not performance. Grief. Mr. Henderson pulled out a USB drive and inserted it into the laptop on the conference table. Your mother also recorded video testimony, he said quietly. Would you like to see it? Michael shook his head. He couldn't speak. Jennifer whispered, No. No, I can't. Derek Marsh, the attorney they brought, closed his briefcase. Based on the evidence presented, he said quietly, I don't believe my clients have grounds for a legal challenge. This will is ironclad. Mr. Henderson nodded. That was your mother's intention. She wanted no ambiguity. Michael stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. I need to go. He walked out without looking at me. Jennifer stayed a moment longer. She looked at me, her face streaked with mascara and tears. Sarah, She struggled for words. I'm so sorry. I should have been there. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to scream at her. Part of me wanted to forgive her. But mostly, I just felt empty. It's too late now, I said quietly. She nodded, wiping her eyes, and left. I sat in that conference room for a long time after everyone left. Mr. Henderson sat down across from me. Your mother talked about you a lot, he said gently. Every time we met, she'd tell me stories. How proud she was of you. How grateful. She said you were the best thing she ever did with her life. I broke down then. Really broke down. All the grief, exhaustion, relief, guilt, it all came pouring out. I didn't do it for the money, I sobbed. I didn't do it for the inheritance. I did it because I loved her. I know, he said. That's exactly why she left it to you. In the end, I inherited $794,000. The house. Mom's savings, her life insurance, everything. Was it enough to make up for 8 years of sacrifice? Of course not. You can't put a price on what I lost. My career, my savings, my relationships, my health. 8 years of my life. But it was validation. It was my mother saying, I saw you. I saw every sacrifice. I saw every sleepless night. And I'm grateful. Michael and Jennifer never spoke to me again. I heard through relatives that they were embarrassed, ashamed. Some people said I should reach out, try to reconcile. But I didn't. Because some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. I used part of the inheritance to pay off the $87,000 I'd spent on Mom's care. I used another portion to finally get physical therapy for my back. And with the rest, I started something Mom would have loved. I founded the Devoted Caregiver Foundation. It provides financial assistance, legal support, and respite care for family caregivers who sacrifice everything to care for aging parents. Because I learned something during those 8 years. Devotion should be rewarded, not exploited. Sacrifice should be honored, not dismissed. And when someone gives everything, they deserve to be seen. My mother saw me. Her letter proved it. And honestly, that was worth more than any inheritance.